And Jesus has a free will.
That's right.
If you think about it, Jesus had a free will. He could have said, yeah, you know what? I don't like the cross. I'll just take half the world now. It's better than spending 3 years in ministry, getting all that rejection that's going to happen, all this stuff, all this, and then die on the cross. You know what? It's easy. I'll take the easy way out. I'll just accept half of it now. Now, maybe we don't do it with half the world, but we reach a certain point and say, you know what, God, I'll just take what I've got now and retire to the beach. And it's like, keep going. Abraham ended up with a picture of Jesus being the lamb that was provided for. He ended up with his child of promise back, which is everything that Isaac represents. It's us being willing to lay on the altar even our very promises, prophecies, dreams, desires, but ultimately Isaac represents our free will. That's what circumcision, the other side of the Jordan, where the flesh is cut off at Gilgal. The flesh represents my will, so that I no longer live, but Christ lives in me.
Amen.
And I don't mean in a part of us, I mean in all of us.
Amen.
In its completeness. To move in authority means we have to live under authority. I think I've told you the hilarious story about the school I was in, and I didn't know why I wanted to go. I didn't want to go there at all, really. And now actually I found out you don't have to do it. You can go straight into doing the course I wanted to. But all of this stuff about hearing from God, and they came right to the last day of the session and said to live under authority, to move in authority, you have to live under authority, and that includes the speed limit. And I went, God, that was sneaky. My idea of the speed limit to that point was it was the minimum you were supposed to drive at, not the maximum. And it literally took me a year to get my right foot back under control. I drove some really fast cars. I was blessed with them. I did 140 miles in an hour once. You know, it was like very early hours of the morning, and there was nothing on the roads, and I had a car that was safe to do with it. But it was still illegal. It's just a miracle I never got caught, because I'd have lost my license and everything. And the car and the big fine, and would have made the national news. But you don't think about it at the time. It's just I want to get home to bed. And I went, Lord, if this is the one issue that's stopping me coming into the authority that you have for me as your son, then I'll sacrifice that. And it includes governmental authority. It's not just the letter, but the spirit of the law. That, you know, governmental law. It's not. It's about our heart. And do I slide, you know, a few miles over the speed limit? Yeah, I do. Particularly, we have miles. The slower it gets, the harder it is, because I drive a big truck. And at 30 miles an hour or like 50 kilometers an hour, that thing doesn't feel like it's moving at all. And that's the hard one. Now we have 20 at home, which is like 30 kilometers an hour, and the truck feels like it's standing still. 70, I've got nailed. I understand. You know, I'm pretty good at that now. But there's grace for when we mess up. But it's about our heart, and if our heart is for Him, then there's the grace when we slide a couple of miles over and a couple of miles back. So you've got Luke 20:25 there. And he said unto them, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God. And that includes our heart, our mind, our will, our future, our choices, all of that stuff. They're God's now because we're bought with a price. Titus 3:1, remind the people to be subject to the rulers and authorities, to be obedient, to be ready to do whatever is good, to slander no one, to be peaceable and considerate, and to show true humility towards all men. And you see that in the life of Joseph. He goes with this person with little character but great anointing. When he gets the coat of many colours. By the way, the many colours represent multifaceted gifts. He had it all. If If you read his life really carefully, this was a guy with a business anointing. It was a guy with dreams and visions. He had the prophetic. He had authority. He had governmental anointings. That's all what all the colours represent. It was the sevenfold spirit. Isaiah 11:11, Revelation 4, the colours of the rainbow, all in this row. He was a forerunner of this generation, where instead of just being grateful if I could do one thing, God's releasing on the face of the earth now a multiple gifts and talents amongst people. Multiple gifts and talents. So you could do one. I have a friend, I'm following her on Facebook at the moment. She's in Seattle, Daisy. She's just this gem. She's just amazing. She's 21 now, I think 22. And I still have the presentation backed up on my hard drive back at the apartment that she did when she was with us in Sweden for her degree work. And I said to her after I read the presentation, and I went, girl, you could do about 7 things and do every one with excellence. All trapped in this, and she's really attractive, isn't she? She's absolutely stunning. So she's got all the looks as well. You know, all the gifts, all the talents, all the anointing. She glows under the anointing. And I'm like, what happened to me? I mean, I don't even have the looks. I mean, you could have started there, you know. It's like, but that's what Joseph represents. But the problem was he had great anointing, but with little character. So he doesn't know how to steward the gifts. He doesn't know how to steward the talents and everything else. And so he just upsets everybody around him. And he goes through this process, if you like, based on what I was teaching. That was his Jordan. He gets down into the pit. Then he's sold into slavery. So from favoured son to slave. He's taken from his father's house into a foreign land. He's sold as a slave, and yet he's still carrying this anointing, and it falls on Potiphar's house. He has the looks, and so there's a place of temptation put in front of him, but you see his character's changed already, and he resists the temptation and flees from it, and his reward is prison. And we go, but God, I did the right thing. How come I'm in the bigger mess? Remind me, how does this Christianity thing work again? Greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. Okay, how come I've gone from pit and now I'm in prison? There's something wrong here, God. This book doesn't kind of tell me that that's the Christian walk. I mean, and this is our problem. Our understanding of what makes a successful Christian is kind of a bit messed up. There's a lot of the soul in here. And when I talked on about Esther, you know, it went on Esther going into the palace today. There'd have been a live webcam. You'd have had a Facebook page, Save Esther. You know, you'd have had candle-lit vigil prayer meetings 24/7 all around. You'd have had viral, you know, email prayers going on, Save Esther, and all of this stuff, and petitions going into every prime minister and head of state, Save Esther. Well, God was. And in the process, he was saving an entire nation. It's just, they didn't see it.
God works mysteriously.
There you go. God works in mysterious ways. His wonders to perform. And that's where Joseph's concerned. But in the process, his character's being reformed in the prison. And he's gone in, I know I'm mixing the metaphors, but he's gone into the Jordan and he's crossing over into this place. And in the prison, he's still carrying the anointing. We need to understand that the darkness could not overcome the light in him, nor us. It didn't matter whether he was in his father's house or in the depths of the prison, he still had the anointing.